I hope you're having a nice day wherever you are in the world, UK or elsewhere. I'm just coming to today to talk about the 070 mandate, which is coming to play in October this year. Now, many telecoms providers, I really don't think they understand the seriousness of this situation. Last year in October 2018, Ofcom decided through their so-called surveys that they do, their customer surveys, or their kind of whatever it is they do to find out whether people are agreeing to the use of the services or complaining about the cost of services, etc. They've decided to convert the 070 numbers into standard mobile ranges, which means that in October this year, 2019, that there will be no more revenue. Now, the 070 business, the 070 personal numbering business here in the UK, is a multi-million pound business, and that's monthly, not annually, monthly. Some companies will stand to lose anything from 300,000 to £1 million a month on the revenues alone. Not to mention all the free customer services which we provide on those numbers for the customers. And it's quite annoying, really, because only I think a dozen telecoms providers replied to the letter and information that was sent out by Ofcom to invite us to reply with our opinions and ideas about the 070 numbers. It's quite shocking, really, and because there have been so little awareness and hardly anybody replied or got back to Ofcom, it seems that nobody's bothered about losing their services. Now, unfortunately, the companies that rely on 070 personal numbers for their business are going to go broke and bankrupt in October because they'll have no revenue from the numbers. Ourselves will be converting the switch in the product on our system because we have that ability. We're just going to be switching it to pay as you go as of the end of obviously the end of October, and that's easy for us to do. We just flick a switch and all the services on those numbers become prepaid, so the customers will have to log in and top up their numbers. Now, the other issue is obviously the mobile operators. The reason why all these this kind of idea came on board with Ofcom is because they can't be bothered. Ofcom just seems to not be bothered about regulating the telecoms providers. So the landline providers isn't a problem. It's the mobile providers. And because of the mobile providers, this is why this has happened with the 070 personal numbers. And it's quite shocking, really, because Ofcom are the governing body and regulator of telecoms, so they can change the laws when they like, how they like, and introduce new laws if they like. For instance, if you remember when, for a little while, I remember when calls from two free phone numbers were free from mobile, as well as landlines. But then there was a little loophole somewhere, and somehow the mobile operators realised that they could start charging, because it's something to do with the wireless operating regulations, they could actually charge for the calls to free phone numbers, which is quite cheeky, really. And I think they should be made to pay all that money back, personally, to all the range holders of the different numbers that they've called, because that's been pure profit for those mobile companies, and they've not shared that with any others. Okay, so although our customers have been paying for those calls coming in, their customers have also been paying for those calls, although now they're free. So a similar situation has arisen with the 070, that because they are an expensive number, the mobile operators are charging up to 50p access charge to call those numbers. So instead of them being, say, 62p, I mean, for instance, with our company, an 070 will be 62p a minute, okay, including VAT and our access charge. And that's reasonable. But the mobile operators, what they do is they charge upwards of £1.50 a minute, which I just don't understand how they can be allowed to do that. Ofcom is responsible for allowing that. And rather than fix the problem, they're shoving it under the mat, so to speak, by just changing the 070 range to a regular mobile range. It still doesn't fix the issue. because it's going to take a while for the networks to filter through all the number ranges and change the ratings and everything else. Ofcom are just causing so much trouble at the moment. It's unbelievable. They don't realise the billing infrastructure that's set in place for all the networks to stop charging for these numbers and these high prices and reduce them to the right price. It's crazy. I just don't understand that they haven't got a clue on this planet of how telecoms actually works. I really don't. Ofcom shouldn't be allowed to be a regulator because of some of the decisions they make are preposterous. What I suggested when I was in a conference call with Ofcom was that, sorry about that, I'll have to leave that one. Basically, I suggested that they should put the personal numbers, the 070 personal numbers, take away the PN2 rate and put them back to K rate. And put all the 070 numbers at the maximum charge K rate. No D rates, no F rate, no other type of charge. Just put them all one rate, K rate. And that'll be reasonable. It's more like an expensive mobile number because some mobile numbers and some networks do actually cost more. Anything up to 25p or so. So put them back to a reasonable call charge amount. And then what could happen then is that we can still get revenue. It would be a reduced revenue, but it means that we can still provide the free services to all our customers and clients that are using these services, because there's going to be millions of customers all throughout the UK that are all going to lose their services in October. Some companies are actually removing the services now and actually closing down the 070 numbers. We've left them open because for the simple reason that when October comes, as I've said before, when October 31st, is it 31st? Yeah, end of October arises, we will just switch on the prepaid pay-as-you-go service on the 070. So some who've got credit, the numbers will still keep working. Others who haven't, then obviously they'll have to log into their customer accounts and top up with some call credit. So that's obviously an advice for our own customers. But we've still got time. We've already done it. I've already done it. Our company has already replied to the mandate of Ofcom, along with a dozen other providers. We need all of you in the UK, all of you who use the 070 ranges. Think about your customers losing their services. Think about the money that's going to be gone. There's going to be millions and millions of pounds just gone overnight. A big gaping hole, financial hole, which Ofcom isn't going to fill. And none of the operators, none of us are going to be able to find that money with other services overnight. It's a very, very serious matter. And I don't think any of you out there who didn't reply to the Ofcom mandate actually are taking it seriously and thinking that Ofcom might just switch it back. But unless hundreds of telecom providers and resellers all bombard Ofcom with whys and wherefores not to do this, they're not going to listen. Now, they have said that this is going to happen. They said it last year, and they were giving us 12 months notice. But there's still time to encourage them to change their minds. Otherwise, millions and millions, all of us are going to stand to lose millions of pounds a year. Not obviously personally, but as a collective, all around the UK, all of us are going to lose out. And that's hundreds and hundreds of operators, resellers, even outside of the UK. And in the UK, there's not just the UK operators and resellers that are using the services, but there are dozens and dozens of providers around internationally who are also using the 070 numbers in their businesses, internationally as well. So it's not just about the UK, it's everybody who uses UK 070 personal numbers is going to lose out financially at the end of October. You will have no more revenue. Okay. Now, I know a few companies that are going to be losing a few £100,000 a month. They cannot replace that figure overnight. It's going to hit them with a big dent financially. It's going to cause a lot of trouble. Some businesses are going to go bankrupt because they haven't got any other kind of service. That's it. They're just an 070 personal number business. Now, it's a very serious matter, and we need to really consider this. So I'm imploring and just pleading that you take me seriously. Ofcom are going to remove the revenue on 070 in October. And all your services that were free, that you're providing your customers, all your customers around the world, all your customers around the UK that were using these numbers are going to not be able to have them anymore. Okay, so we need to really think now before it's too late.